recorded live at 4ZZZ Studios, Meanjin, Brisbane.
On 102.1 FM.
And broadcast across Australia on the Community Radio Network.
You're listening to Zed Games.
Zed Games brings you the best in gaming news, reviews, community and culture. Want to reach out?
Share your hot take?
Or do you just want to share your favourite game?
Find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
Hello. You're listening to... How dare you interrupt my hellos? You know that there are 3 hellos.
Hey.
And then we get to the other stuff. Anyway, you're listening to Zed Games. My name is Zahra, and with me in the studio tonight is...
Hazel.
And...
Paul.
Paul.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi,
I waited
all.
my
You
time.
don't want to say Paul 3 times?
No, I'm
that's
enough.
That summons him.
Yeah. That's true. That is true.
People don't want more than one.
What were those songs we just heard?
Right at the top there, we heard Feed the Beat from Feed the Deep, and we just had Back to Back from Sonic Rush. Because, of course.
Because you're sick. You're
Yes.
sick in the head.
Yes, I am. I am mentally ill and my brain is blue.
Have you watched the Knuckles series yet?
I have not, and that's because... anyway, how are you two tonight?
I'm good.
I'm doing great.
Awesome. We've kind of got actually... I feel like we have a lot to get through tonight. We've got the Weekend Gaming News by Tobi. We've also got a couple of gaming reviews tonight, and we also have a little mini interview / event to chat about that's coming up this weekend. But before we get to all of that, let's let Tobi take over the airwaves. Take it away, Tobi.
This week in gaming news, Aussie news, layoffs and resignations, and the week in gaming bites. In Aussie gaming headlines, Billy Mitchell has finally arrived on Australian soil in his bid to sue YouTuber Carl Jobst for defamation. The disputed Donkey Kong record holder is defending the claim that his actions against the late YouTuber Ben Smith, aka Apollo Legend, were a significant factor in Mr. Smith taking his own life, and that he hounded Mr. Smith to death. The case is ongoing. Dungeons & Dragons has again been caught in the crossfire as an Albany council has held a meeting regarding the removal of sex education books to be removed from the library. While the motion was defeated, the group, Keeping Children Safe Albany, led by former One Nation candidate Michelle Kinsella, called the books borderline pornographic, and has previously claimed that transgender people hijack Pride for an agenda, and that D&D could be used to groom children. In better news, Australian game classification will be updated from September 22 to push the classification of games that allow the purchase of chance, mystery items or loot boxes with real money to the M rating, not recommended for children under 15 years of age, and any game containing simulated gaming to R18+. On the business side of gaming, also known as hiring, firing and foreclosures, all 25 staff from Annapurna Interactive have resigned after the gaming division failed to convince founder Megan Ellison to allow them to spin the gaming segment as its own company. After Ellison pulled out of negotiations earlier this month, President Nathan Gary and co-heads Deborah Mars and Nathan Vella resigned. Ellison has stated the company is still committed to the upcoming game releases such as Blade Runner 2033 Labyrinth, Ghostbike and Wonderstop. Annapurna Interactive is known for games such as Stray, Outer Wilds, and more. Microsoft went through a round of restructuring September 12, laying off another 650, mostly corporate and supporting, staff from Activision Blizzard and Xbox to add to the 1,900 staff cut in January. Xbox chief Phil Spencer announced the layoffs in an internal memo, claiming the cuts were needed to organise the business for long-term success. And now for the bites. On Twitter, the monster collector / shooter Powerworld has clarified that the game will not go free to play or be run under a service model. However, we may see DLC or purchasable skins in the future. And in unsurprising news, Nintendo has finally filed for multiple patent infringements against Powerworld's developers. Despite AI claiming that there will be a Bugsnax 2 The City coming October, there isn't. There isn't even anything being developed. Bungie and Nerf have apologised and will compensate the artist after it was revealed that they stole the art of Tofu Rabbit for the Ace of Spades Nerf gun. In a cash grab, Game Tech Holdings grabbed the trademark Flappy Bird and sold it to a subsidiary of 1208 Productions after developer Dom Nguyen missed refiling. This spearheaded the return of Flappy Bird onto Web3 and the crypto monetization now present in the rebrand. And finally, I just want to personally apologise for my contributions to the fact that Diablo 4 has now made over $1 billion from purchases and microtransactions. The horses and skins are just so damned pretty. I couldn't help myself. And now for the game releases. Friday, September 20 brings us EA Sports FC 25 and the long-awaited Frostpunk 2, both coming for PC. Also, Matchbox Driving Adventures and The Karate Kid Street Rumble for PC and consoles. Saturday, September 21st gets retro with Parking Garage Rally Circuit for PC. Monday, September 23 brings us the 2D arena shooter Anarcade on PC and consoles, and Survival Sandbox City 20 is going into PC Early Access. Tuesday, September 24, Solve the Mystery in A Death in the Red Light. Civ fans will want to check out Ara, History Untold, coming to PC and Xbox Series X, and Crusader Kings 3 Roads to Power DLC is coming to PC. Get Monster Taming in the turn-based RPG Bloomtown, A Different Story, coming to PC and consoles. Disney Epic Mickey Rebrushed is coming to PC and consoles. Developed by Spiders, Greedfall 2, The Dying World is hitting Early Access. Cozy Doodler, Tiny Arcade is coming to PC. And co-op mega horror shooter, The Forever Winter is coming to PC Early Access. On Wednesday, September 23, puzzle platformer and Everyday Story comes to PC. Get retro futuristic with a guinea pig in Beyond Galaxyland coming to PC. Shoot things in the run and gun arcade shooter Iron Meat for PC and consoles. Get your puzzle on in the hand-drawn Murder on Space Station 52, or challenge the grid in the puzzle maker Seba's Odyssey coming to PC. And the TTRPG Aria is coming to PC and consoles under the title Worlds of Aria. And finally, Thursday, September 26, get driving with Race Manager Golden Lap or Arcade Rallya, #Drive Rally, both coming to PC. Relive World War II again in real-time co-op strategy, 63 days, coming to PC, PlayStation and Xbox. Do you like DayZ or Rust but you're a duck? Get Duckside, coming to PC. Fill the retro in Adventure JRPG, The Nameless Slay Dragon, coming for PC and Switch. And lastly, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom comes to Switch. And that's all this week in gaming news.
Holy dooly, that's a lot in this week in gaming news. Thank you so much for all of that, Tobi, especially all those upcoming game releases. If there's a game that you're looking forward to, feel free to text in to 0420 626 733 and let us know what that game is. While I'm at it, I want to give a shout out to Alaya from Byron Bay for subscribing. Thank you so much. You helped keep the lights on just for a little bit longer.
We want to take a moment to say thank you to Irina. Irina, you've subscribed to 4ZZZ for the very first time and gave us a $5 tax-deductible donation. That's amazing. Maybe you've only just stumbled across us on air, or maybe you're a long-time listener who finally decided to take the plunge and subscribe. We don't know for sure, but what we do know is we owe you a massive thanks for helping us keep our lights on. Thanks, Irina.
FIBA 3x3 Quest. It's a movement.
We are a community.
Welcome to the playground.
Hello, listeners. Tonight we have a special guest with us on the show, but let him introduce himself.
Thank you, Zahra. Thanks for having me. I appreciate y'all. My name is Deola D'brown, and I'm from Made Concepts. And essentially what Made stands for is we manage and deliver engaging concepts. And that's what we do. Our scope of operation, covers over 3 main areas, which is running a lot of youth programs, around the community, all aimed at, getting kids off the street, upskilling young people, and getting them empowered so they can become incredible role models in society. And then, of course, the other part of what we do is hugely around sporting events, community events, programs, all that type of stuff.
You have an event coming up quite soon, actually.
Yes, that's exactly right. And it's on this weekend, so we're excited to come out here and talk a little bit more about it. It's going to be a 3-day event. It's called the PLAYGRND Showdown. And this weekend is themed as Brisbane's biggest basketball weekend. But hey, don't be scared. There's not all basketball. There's a whole lot of other things outside of basketball. There is a huge e-gaming component about this now. We've just gone on tour. The e-game will be over the 3 days. Each day will feature a different type of game. So it'll be 2K, NBA 2K on one day, Rocket League on another day, and Mario Kart on the last day. So anybody can play. It's all about community participation, whether you've played games before, you haven't. Now there's two components to the e-games aspect of this weekend event. There's the competitive aspect where you can compete to win a prize, participate in that, or we have the open play where anybody can just go and test out different games, try different skills, learn from some of the gaming icons that'll be around, of course, so it's up to anyone, whether you want your competitive side to come out or you just want your participating side to come out. There's everything for you.
Fabulous. So they'll be starting on Friday the 20th of September, running until Sunday the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Whereabouts is the event being held?
That's correct. The event will be at the Brisbane Showgrounds. Now that's quite a big space. I know at the Zed family we like to call it the Eka ground, but it is just going to be in a very small space there, which is the Marquee 2, which is closest to the Gate 6, which is just right next to the hospital.
Fabulous. Now, so eGames runs from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. daily, but there are other things to check out, isn't there?
This is a family-friendly event. The whole family can come down and be a part of this, where the kids can be playing basketball, the dad can be playing e-games, and the mom will be running around in the box fit ring or activation. So there's actually something for everybody. Definitely looking forward to it. Don't forget, we are a community. It is a movement, and welcome to our playground.
Sick of carrying your boombox everywhere you go, but miss your beloved 4ZZZ shows when you leave it behind? Get the Community Radio Plus app from your phone's app store now. It's 15% smaller than the average app and packed with at least 500 times more attitude, 500 times more independent journalism, 500 times more local and Aussie music, 500 times more representation of subcultures. Download Community Radio Plus and save 4ZZZ and Zed Digital as favorites using the little red heart icon now. But wait, there's more. If you install Community Radio Plus in the next 5 minutes, you'll get a free dose of warm inner glow. Get Community Radio Plus from your app store now.
Paul?
Hello.
You have a review for us.
Yeah. What review should I do? The one that I said I would do?
The one that you said that you would do.
Cool.
Please,
okay.
Please and thank you. Unless, what do you have a surprise review?
No, I can do. I'm always playing lots of stuff. What's the music has to go? Can we acapella it?
Something like,
I think I know it. Yeah, let's go. Boom, boom. Here's a review about a game made in Brisbane by some lovely fellas and ladies. I assume. I haven't checked the makeup of the team. But, it's generally a hopefully diverse lot. Anyway, I'm talking about The Plucky Squire by All Possible Futures. This comes from a few people, some of the people behind Swords of Ditto, but it's published by Devolver Digital. It has been a little while coming. You may have seen it online in its trailers. It is an extremely striking game. This is a game that starts as a storybook. You are the titular Plucky Squire. It's a children's book, and literally the page is rendered on a desktop, and you walk from page to page, and the pages turn. And I've always loved sort of that making a book physical that you're moving through ever since Comic Zone. I don't know if you two are too young for Comic Zone.
I think we are too young for Comic Zone.
That was a dream.
Does that
game.
make you feel like ancient?
Oh, you
were visibly aging before my eyes.
You would punch the enemy and he would go through the barrier to the next panel in the comic strip. All sorts of things. It's great.
Sounds cool.
Gimmicks all the way. So anyway,
Paul's getting older in front of us, like in that scene in The Mummy.
I'm aging. Let me tell you about the Commodore 64. Anyway, So Plucky Squire, you go through there, and then after a sort of brief interlude, it becomes apparent that people inside the book know they are in a book, and the bad guy has become aware of this, and he decides to cast you out, and he gives you a and he throws you out of the 2D plane of the book into the 3D world of the desk around you. Now striking the game where now you can explore a 3D world surrounding the book itself, and then also other things. Currently, Zahra and Hazel are watching a trailer where you are interacting with a Magic the Gathering card who you've gone to try and source a piece of equipment. Aesthetically, this game is absolutely incredible. It moves from style to style seamlessly. You'll find you'll bring in an element from another art style into this art style, and they'll just put them together. Sometimes you move to a different genre and your character changes its design and stuff like that. The 3D and the 2D both control very well, and it's just really wonderful moving through and discovering new things. Now, I'm taking a little bit of a sour note now. That then this is partly when you see the promise of a game and it's not necessarily what you want. So to me, this was a promise of exploring this large overworld and coming back, going and collecting things, maybe a bit Metroidvania or not. It's not. It's an extremely linear, quite prescribed game. Puzzles are straightforward. They have a solution. There's a few fun things you can do. I found... so one of the things in the game is that there's words on the pages, and often you can dislodge those words, pick them up, and exchange them with other words. It's a gimmick we've seen in a few other games recently. But, you get a few extra achievements for turning a bunch of things into cheese, because that's fun.
Achievements?
Yeah, it's cute and it's great, and everything's really solid, but it doesn't necessarily rise above its concept. Its concept is great. Everything about it works. One of the first minigames you have is Punch Out. And that's just the only time you ever play Punch Out. So why did you build this system to use it once? You could have done a bunch of Punch Out and had fun with it. Just for there's some bobble that you hit at some point of the game. Again, you just do it once and it's done.
It sounds like your problem with the game is not that it's a bad game, but that there were missed opportunities for it to be an even better game.
There's a lot of missed opportunities, and it's the combat is incredibly simple. Now, here's the thing. When I was playing the preview, so I've come to terms with this, but at least you expressed my previous despair. Where I was playing the preview, and I was playing it in the normal mode, which is the hard mode, because it's just adventure and storybook mode. And I'm like, oh, this is a kid's game, isn't it? I mean, it's bright and colourful. It's about a children's book. So kind of obvious. But the thing is, there are so many things in there that adults will enjoy. And honestly, a lot of even though I said the combat's simple, when you get to the minigame stuff, some of that can be quite hard, to the extent there's just a skip minigame button if you hit the start. So I think a lot of kids will actually get hit up on some of those, but it's not quite enough meat. I was sort of saying before, I was playing the game before the show, I was saying look, I just do my spinner's cack because the entire attack is iframes, so nothing can hurt me while I'm spinning. So I just win the game by doing this attack.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that. So it's, and also being when it goes into 3D, because you are navigating a 3D environment, but you're still from a top-down camera that's tilted a little bit, it means you often have to come towards the camera, but you cannot see that direction. So sometimes finding collectibles and where a platform might be, it's a little touchy. So I'm sounding a bit negative here. The game is wonderful, and as I say, the art style is incredible. The way it mixes between things, the genres you hit, I've mentioned a few, but there's shmups, there's puzzle games, there's all sorts of things there. But I do want for more. Which is it's a mean thing to criticize something for. It's sorry, I don't think you're brilliant because you could have given me more.
I feel like
Paul is
you've
never
been given
satisfied.
this sort of a platter of bite-sized meals.
Yeah, and none of them are particularly meaty, and that's its major falling. As something to play just because since it's linear, it's not particularly that long. It's about 10 hours. My time's a lot longer because I played the preview as well, which I then had to replay half the game when the real game came out. But it's got a lot there, but there's not a lot that's going to trip you up. There's not a lot that's going to challenge you. It has some forced stealth sections, which just like every other time that's done in a game that's not about stealth, they're just boring and annoying. Thankfully, we're talking 5 minutes of it overall. But looks great, sounds great. Plays very solidly. All the basics are there. It's got some really good imagination. The way you get new ways of manipulating the book, because not only can you jump out of the book and turn the pages to go to another scene, you can eventually start doing other things to the book. It's got a lot there, but as I say, I would have liked a bit more meat to the overall thing. That said, sometimes I just wish I could give a score. I'd still give it like an 8.
A 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, yeah. No, really solid game. And that brings us to the end of the review. Here's the exit music. Anyway, thank you for that, Zahra. Thank you for that review, Hazel.
Thank you for that review, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
That was, it is a visually very stunning game, and I'm really impressed. We're watching like some clips and some buddy play it, and just the way that they jump between like the different sort of.
You go to a mountain that's all metal themed, as in like the music genre, and there's beat games and everything in there. And one of your offside characters is called Thrash, and he's a drummer.
Oh my god!
It has a lot of charm. Endless charm, really.
I love that.
Not in terms of the art style itself, but in the techniques they use to blend it. It kind of reminds me of Across the Spider-Verse. The way that the art styles would kind of seamlessly blend from the different universes.
They'd let things mix together when it's not.
Yeah.
But also, they would pop to let you know that that's not where it's meant to be.
Yeah.
You know that they're not really meant to be there, but they're hanging out.
They make it work.
Yeah. Awesome.
You're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Zed Games on 4ZZZ.
Oi mate, you're listening to Zed Games at 4ZZZ.
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 Got a bit carried away.
My name is Zahra. You're listening to Zed Games, and with me in the studio tonight is
Hazel
and
Paul.
Hello. How are you two? How are we doing halfway through the show?
So good.
I'm all right.
Awesome.
A little warm.
Well, I can't help you with that. That's just going to be the situation here.
That's all right.
But while we simmer, I guess, do you want to listen to a review? I've got one.
From whom?
From whom? From. Oh my god! Hang on.
From whom?
The word "whom" is 80% funnier than the word "who."
It is.
Yeah.
Wait, who made this game?
Huh?
Yes. Developed by Inverge Studios and published by 11-Bit Studios, I present to you Creatures of Ava. What if all of those alien abduction stories are actually alien conservation stories?
What do you mean, if?
Like, just...
I mean, if I was an alien, I would be trying to conserve things on Earth.
Yeah, like, alien anthropologists or biologists come over to Earth and they see the situation here and they're like, it's getting a bit hairy here. We should grab some genetic samples.
Grab the best samples, musk.
Few critters so we can, like, preserve it. Which is like cool, you know, but from our perspective, they're just abducting people without even, how do you do? Well,
that would make it better.
I think just introducing yourselves is probably a good start. Speaking of, let me introduce you to Creatures of Ava, an adventure platformer that puts you in the boots of Vic, an explorer on an expedition to Ava, a planet being choked to death by an infection known as the Withering. With a vibrant, stylized 3D art style, a diverse range of wildlife to observe and tame, and the Nam, the inhabitants of this beautiful world, you'll be tasked with selecting and retrieving a small number of each species to preserve on the bioarc, and eventually convince the Nam to abandon the planet. But as the game progresses, and you learn about the song of Ava, the beat of its life force, and about the Nam, the solution might be closer to home. Vic almost immediately discovers a thing and a friend. She'll come across a Nam named Nimtar. They're an archaeologist, and quite friendly and helpful. They help Vic discover the Nafitar, a staff that seems to utilize the life force of Ava in a myriad of ways, one of which clears the Withering from the environment and animals. There are a number of upgrades and abilities you can unlock in the Nafitar, giving you abilities such as levitation or slowing down time briefly, which is very helpful as you're trying to heal some animals, as they do get a little bit aggressive. The Nafitar is pretty powerful, but Vic won't have a chance of taming the animals enough for transport until she learns to play the flute. Music is quite important to the Nam and to the world of Ava. It's how they share stories and knowledge, spread news, and interact with the harmony of the world. After a quick lesson, you'll need to spend a bit of time learning the song for each species. You play the tune right, and the animals will be more willing to work with you. Through song, you can guide them and use their unique abilities so you can explore areas inaccessible to you and solve puzzles. You can pet the critters too. They each have their own petting animation, so please take your time exploring that.
Can I just ask you something?
Yes.
Because the features you've described so far have filled my head with the image of going into bullet time so that you can play the flute to a rabid dog to calm it down and cure it of rabies.
Well...
And then it becomes your friend afterwards.
A bit, yes, except the bullet time doesn't happen until you press the bullet time button. In which case, then the critter's like, I'll stop biting you for like 2 seconds while you clear this disease from my body.
Mm-hmm.
And they will chew on your ankles. They will chew on your ankles. They'll spit sap on you. It's just, it's
nasty.
Yeah, it's not fun.
What I think about the whole time she's talking is every time she says creatures of Narn, or I go garlic naan.
And of course,
Yum.
once you've tamed the animals, you can string them along like the Pied Piper onto your bio arc. As you can imagine, music is a pretty important part of this game. The soundtrack is quite beautiful and uniquely themed to each biome you come across and the villages you find. I found myself immersed in the grasslands and moved to the jungle, and that was a completely different tone, making me feel like the music is growing around me. The key parts of dialogue in most cutscenes are voiced, but a large amount of information is given via text with subtitles. Playing the flute will give you a wheel of notes you can use to play the flute, and you'll have to listen carefully to match the song of the creature. But you are also given visual cues as well, indicating what notes you need to play and the length and pattern of each note. To be honest, this would be a really cutesy but shallow game if it wasn't for the Nam and the interactions with them. They're a bit owl-like in appearance, at least to me, and half of them don't seem to care for humans at all. They're straight up rude. There were scientists on Ava previously, and they did not have the best relationship with the locals. You know how sometimes ethics isn't really considered when carrying out experiments? Yeah. The rest of the Nam might be curious and even charmed by Vic and humans. In infantile, like,
they
treat
think
you like
you're
a baby.
cute.
They think you're
cute.
a baby. And they just don't get why you're running around doing all this work when you could be relaxing playing the flute. You're doing important work, but the Nam are also doing the work important to them and their culture. But your guide, Nimtar, and you're to act like the bridge between the two cultures. Humans want to ship off the people and critters off this planet because of a disease. The Nam don't want to leave and seem to be quite content to ignore the disease. It's interesting exploring how Vic learns the ways of the Nam and of Ava, and how that influences her to become more emphatic and willing to listen, giving her the same response in return. So it's less about abducting critters without even a how do you do, and more about, hey, let's sing about what we can do to save the planet. Yeah, that all being said, as beautiful a game as it is, personally, I don't really have any criticisms with it, except for the fact that it did crash a couple of times when loading into a new zone. But when the game didn't crash, going into a new area of the game was beautiful. You would come out onto this cliff and you'll get this perfectly sort of curated scene of the environment that you're meant to explore. And there's a lot of cool moments that they do with that, just sort of like guided cinematic moments where they reveal the big creature for that biome.
You're just playing on PC?
Yeah, I've been playing on PC. Believe it's also available on Xbox, Series X and X. That's pretty much it, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a very beautiful game. Maybe not my favorite game, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Very few
Not every
games are my
game can
favorite
be your
game.
favorite
Only
game.
one is.
Only one is?
Yeah.
What is your favorite game?
I mean, just for argument's sake, I'll say Outer Wilds, but that's just what the word favorite means.
True.
The Weekly Dose of Science on 4ZZZ is now available as a podcast.
I learned that you can hear the difference between different water temperatures when they're poured. I'm going to pour one after the other into a different glass, and you have to tell me which one is which temperature. I've got a hot and a cold. Right, here's the first one. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm saying cold.
It sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Here's the second one.
Well played.
Shut up.
Search No Idea 4ZZZ on your favourite podcasting app. That's spelled KNOW, like Kano Idea. It's a visual pun on an audio platform. I don't know why we did it.
Hello, this is Zed Games. With me in this year tonight is Hazel and Paul.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
What's your name?
I'm Zahra, but that's not important.
Okay.
What is important is the cutest little robot.
Yes. What a few weeks for Sony.
Yeah.
Releasing a 300... well, we're not quite sure the cost. Let's say 300 million just because it's more fun to say that.
Yeah.
Game that's been in development for 7 to 8 years and then pulling it from sale within a week. To then announcing the perhaps most pointless updated Pro machine of that. It'll sell out, but whatever.
Yeah.
Where there are people with too much money, and now releasing one of the best, if not the best, game of the year with Astrobot. It's certainly reviewed
Game of the year.
Look, I'm not necessarily it's me. I'm saying it's going to win Game of the Year awards.
I can see that.
My Game of the Year is always special because I'm a special boy with special problems. And
your Game of the Year is going to be something that 2 people have heard of, and one of them is you, and the other one is the developer.
Yes, and that will be lovely.
And you would somehow have reviewed 3 of the games previously as well.
Oh, of course. I mean, if you don't know the whole catalog, you can't really understand it. Anyway, so Astrobot is the 4th Astrobot game with a Playroom Astrobot Rescue Mission, Astrobot Playroom. Was it Playroom again on the PS5? It was a launch title. It was basically their little pack-in. You got to explore the insides of PS5. It was a little Mario game. It took like 2 hours to beat. It was wonderful. And everyone said, hey, wouldn't it be great if you took Team Asobi, who is this smaller Japanese developer that Sony uses sort of for like in-house research development? So they all the gimmicks that they pack into their stuff, Team Asobi will be like working on and working with them and making sure they're integrated properly. So now they did let them make a full game, and it means there are now 2 games that use the features of the PS5.
Whoa.
Yeah, the pack-in free game and now Astrobot. Everything else has just been kind of a PS4 game. It looked a bit better.
Just sort of like, oh yes, the controller also does things.
Yeah. So the big question...
I'll be honest, I've tried using the adaptive trigger controls on racing games.
Yeah.
And I do not like the force feedback at all. It feels terrible.
Oh, we'll have to try you out on Astro because this is top tier stuff.
Okay.
So the question is is this Sony's Mario? To which I answer, no. Is it as good as Mario games? Yeah, probably. It's just a little bit different. So at first, basically my big takeaway at the beginning, and I'll start with the negative because there's not very much of it, was that the game didn't really offer much of a challenge. All it was really fun and beautiful and jaw-dropping. But it wasn't very challenging.
You would like to be challenged.
I sense a theme.
Yeah. But it did bring that challenge, not so much in the main game, which is just fun to go through, but in the side missions, in the challenge missions, that stuff is like the more abstract levels you'll get in a Mario game where they actually give you a specific challenge. And what is not in there currently, what will be coming into a patch soon, is the speedrunning mode, which I know a lot of people are addicted to with the first game, and it will lend itself to it very well because there's just... Here's a thing that's going to take you 30 seconds to do. Now do it in 29.9991 seconds. And you go, I can do it.
And there'll be people who will be like, I can do that in 12 seconds.
Once those leaderboards get in there, that gets you. So, overall, okay, you're Astrobot, you're flying on your completely sickening marketing ship, which is just a PS5. An alien comes...
Is it a PS5 Pro?
No, it was. I don't know if they'll patch it in either.
Wow.
Anyway, we get to it. So yeah, it's a going level to level, go galaxy to galaxy. They're linear levels. It's not like a Mario Odyssey where you're exploring. You're just going level to level. There's bots to collect. All the bots are themed like other characters from Sony games. And the cool thing is when you get to the end of a world, you'll get a specific Sony character. And the last level of that world, you will play with the powers of that character. So we listened to the God of War theme before, the Astro God of War theme. You will have a level where God of War, you will use the frost axes and everything through it.
Nice.
It's really satisfying. And sort of the weirdly, the big gimmick of the game, I mentioned before the show, is that a lot of the areas just have lots of stuff everywhere. And it doesn't do anything to gameplay. It's just because the haptics on the controller do something when you touch something. So when there's hundreds or thousands of things around you, it goes, and it feels nice. And that's the whole game. The whole game is about feeling really, really nice and getting there. It's, it's just an incredible lot of fun. I played through it with a 4-year-old.
Yeah, I'm sure that made it fun.
And when it was too hard, he handed it to me.
Nice.
Great.
Fabulous. All right, if you're needing something to play with your kid, Astrobot is probably it. But that's all we've got time for tonight. I just want to say thank you all so much for listening. Have a lovely time and goodbye. I love you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Zed Games.
If you'd like to listen to more, you can find us on the Community Radio Plus app
or find us on socials at Zed Games AU.
See you next time.